Hey guys, and welcome back to your one room schoolhouse. My name is Mary Barfield, and I am a homeschooling mom to a second grader and a kindergartner. And today's video is going to be either the fourth or fifth, I can't remember, video in my review series that I'm doing of Build Your Library's Level 0 Around the World study. Now, if this is your first video you've seen in this series and you want to go back all the way to the beginning of the series, I'll leave a link up above of that playlist. The way I'm reviewing this is I'm going continent by continent. Each video is a specific continent, and today's video is going to be all about Asia because that's what we've been studying for the last 5 weeks. Now, this is a total curriculum. It's an all-in-one. There's science, there's nature study, there's literature, there's culture, geography, etc. Now, this is not the only curriculum we use. We use a lot of other tools and bits and pieces. So if you want to look at any of those, I've got tons of videos on the curriculum we use. But something I just wanted to mention is now that we are more than halfway through the program, I really want to give my thoughts on the age level that she gives for this. She says it's for ages 4 to 6, which I absolutely agree with. But I also really think that putting 4 to 6 hampers the audience that would really enjoy this program. I think that she should increase the age level. There are chapter books in this program. There's a lot in here that is for older kids. And my second grader, who is 7, going to be turning 8 and then this summer, she's loving it. She's getting a lot out of it, and it is not boring for her by any means. I think sometimes people see the kindergarten label or level 0 label and they're like, my second grader wouldn't like that. That is absolutely not true. So if you've got a second, even a third or fourth grader, do not walk away if you're looking for a really good all-in-one program that focuses on geography and cultures around the world. Now, if you have watched my videos before this, you know that I like to start off these videos by talking about and highlighting a spine that she recommends in her book list for this program, as well as one spine that I like to add to the program because we are a Charlotte Mason family. We love literature and we love adding really good books that we can anywhere that we can. So today's spine that I'm going to highlight that Emily Cook has recommended you use for the cooking portion of this program is Cooking Class Global Feast. I will tell you, this is a really fantastic cookbook. It's got a lot of great recipes for you and your kiddos to do. They're not overly complicated, but they're not too bland and boring, if that makes sense. Now, I will fully admit, if there's one thing that we really haven't done a lot from this program, it's been the cooking. And we really like to cook. We love to bake. We're that family. However, I think trying to schedule it in a curriculum way has been really tough for us to manage. And I really can't put my finger on quite why. I think by the time we get to this portion of it, it's like Thursday or Friday, and we're kind of like, we're tired, we don't want to cook. And I hate that because there's some really good recipes in here. However, I'm going to keep this book after this curriculum is over, and we're going to still use this at later date. It just won't be included in this curriculum. But I want to share some of the pages for you. So it's easily laid out. It tells you what country it's from, what the name of it is, the ingredients. It's got pictures and step-by-step instructions. They've also got it broken out in the contents by breakfast, and then it shows you what country the meal is from, and then lunch, dinner, desserts, snacks, and drinks. And then at the end of this book, there is actually, this is really cool. Here, I want to pull it up correctly. There's a whole printout where you can create your own passport. You would have to cut all this out. Oh, my dog just came in here. And there's stickers. And so if you're doing this as a family on your own, you can then, you cut out the passport. There's only one, so if you're more than one kid, I don't know what you do. I guess you just do a family passport. You put the stickers in it and you get to say, hey, we ate from this country. So although we have not been really good about making all the meals, I really think this is a really fantastic resource. If you are a family who loves to cook, bake, etc., this will be right up your alley and you will absolutely love it. Now, for the spine that we added, I chose What Do You Celebrate? There's a whole series on this. They also do What Do You Eat? And it's like food from around different countries and stuff like that. That's really cool that we've been using as well. But this we actually own, and we had it from, we used Torchlight last year. We did their geography component specifically. And we really liked this book. It's super simple. I think there's about 20 or so different countries highlighted, and they pick a country. So here's Japan, and they talk about a holiday, a festival. This is actually my daughter. Oh, here, this one in India, Holi, Holi. My youngest loves this holiday now, and I think it's just because they get to throw colorful powder at each other, and it's like you've just walked through a tie-dye machine, and I think she thinks that's the most fun thing ever. But it's really cool. It tells you all about the country, the holiday, what its significance is. There's also a little section here where they'll do, like, you can do an activity, tie-dye. Makes sense, right? But there's just so much good information in here. It's not overwhelming, and it's perfect for younger elementary students. So that's why I love this. And any country that's mentioned in here, we've incorporated it into our curriculum with Build Your Library. All right, I just closed a blind that's in front of me because I noticed there was like light hitting me, and I'm sure that was probably super annoying for y'all, so I'm so sorry. It might be a little darker in here. I hope it's okay, but it's just that, you know, setting sunlight that's like hitting right through my window. So get lots of natural light, but you get kind of blinded by it. So I hope the lighting is okay and it's not too bad for y'all to continue on. All right, next I'm going to talk about all the wonderful literature we read in this unit. Some of it I purchased, some of it I got from my library. So if I got it from my library and I don't have it anymore, of course, I'll put a picture of the book here so you can check it out. The first book we read was Babushka Baba Yaga. And Baba Yaga, from my understanding, is a tale that, you know, is told in Russia and maybe a few other countries, but I know in Russia specifically, about a witch, Baba Yaga, who eats children. I liken it to our version of Hansel and Gretel. That's kind of like what I got from it. Now, this book, though, I think is a different spin on it, and it's kind of turning the villain into a real person kind of situation, where Baba Yaga is actually just this little old lady who really just wants a grandchild to love, and she meets this couple and they kind of get mutual love from each other because I guess they don't have grandparents. And it's actually a really sweet story that kind of turns around the villainous story of Baba Yaga who eats children, so it's kind of cute in that respect. My girls, folklore and folk tales are kind of hit or miss with my kids in general. Sometimes they love them, sometimes they don't, and I can't tell you if they will or will not until we've read it. This was one that just kind of was lukewarm to them. They didn't hate the story, but they were kind of like, okay, what are we doing next? They didn't really seem excited about it, but it was a cute story. Illustrations, all that good stuff, so don't skip it if you get it from your library. The next book we read was probably, if you poll my kids, they will tell you it's their favorite book we've read thus far in the entire program. And it's called Year of the Dog by Grace Lin. And Grace Lin is an author of many children's stories, Where the Mountain Meets the Moon, and so many others that my girls are so excited that she has other books because they loved this book so much. It is a chapter book, and it's almost like an autobiography without being in narrative form. The main character's name is Pacey. She's a she's from Taiwan, and she also goes through this identity crisis of, am I Taiwanese, am I Chinese, but I'm now in America, and so am I Chinese American, but am I Taiwanese American? It's actually really interesting because she runs you through the gamut of what it's like to be living in another country, from another country, and that cultural identity crisis that they go through, but then they're planning to stay forever. So are they now Americans? And she's a young, I would say older elementary school, middle grade child. And it's basically an autobiography. You figure it out at the end of the book of Grace Lin. And my daughters love this book so much that I think it really inspired my oldest. She's like, I think I want to be a writer. And I was like, really? And she said, yeah, the way Grace Lin finds her passion through writing, and then you find out that she's actually the author of the book, and then she's got all these other books, and it really sparked a bit of a passion. And I know my oldest has always been language arts, like forward, like she leans towards language arts. It makes sense for her, but this really lit a passion in her, and I was like, this is kind of cool. So really good book. We got to learn all about Chinese New Year, all about Chinese customs, Taiwanese customs. It was a really good book overall and really well written. Now, the next book we read, I actually have, and this is, she puts it, I think, under the science category for the subjects, but I would also consider this geography. It's called A Drop Around the World, and you're following a drop of water literally around the world. Here, I'll show you the inside cover. You see it goes from one point to the other point as different forms of water, gas, so like water vapor, rain, snow, a hurricane, there's monsoon, it evaporates, then condensation. So you learn all about water and how it's constantly just recycling into different forms all across the world. There's beautiful illustrations. It was really well done. And it also talks about conservation, how important water is to our planet and to us as living beings. So really, really good book. It was really engaging. We got to do another project with it, which I'll show you when we talk about projects after I go over the literature. And the girls really like this. They're like, did we get this from the library or did we buy it? Whenever they ask that, it's because they hope I've bought it because they like it. And I told them, I was like, I got this off Thrift Books, so we own it. And they were like, yes. So I've caught them pulling it down and looking it on their own. My oldest has been able to read some of it. Really good book. Do not skip this one if you're doing the program. I absolutely highly recommend you read this one. The next book we got from the library, and it was called Malala's Magic Pencil. I really liked this book. My girls liked it too, but I don't know if they got as much out of it as I did. I hate to say that like in a weird way, but just because it had more of a mature theme. Malala, who writes the book, actually, she's the author. It is an autobiography of her and it's a picture book. She is a girl growing up in Pakistan during the time that the Taliban takes over. And she talks about how she goes to school. She talks about her normal life. And then the Taliban comes in and how it changes and how slowly but surely girls are no longer going to school. And then officially they're fully outright banned from going to school. And so her magic pencil, she's a writer, right? She just loves to journal and write. Well, she uses her voice, her writing, to get the word out to the world of what is happening in Pakistan with the girls and Taliban taking over. And so basically about her activism to, help make the world aware so that they can help them. It was just a really moving book, really good. It wasn't, I think maybe it meant more to me because I remember all of that happening because I think I'm basically Malala's age. And so maybe it just meant more to me. The girls really were upset. They were like, why wouldn't they let them go to school? And they were, they were like, that's not fair. And they got it, but maybe not on the level I did. So it really moved me. And then at the end, it talks about the real life of it, which I love with these books. They always at the end have a preface where it talks about here's the story, but here's the historical bits, really what happened and the facts. So I went over that with them too, and it opened up a lot of good conversation. So really, really good book. Highly recommend. Next up, we read Mela, M-E-L-A, Mela, I think, and the Elephant. Super sweet picture book. It's a story of kindness, and you're learning about animals and the elephants, because obviously Asian elephants, that's one of the animals that we talk about maybe doing an animal profile for, and I'll talk about that in a second. But just really sweet picture book, nothing too crazy to it. And last but not least, we read Snow in Jerusalem. I purchased this book off Thrift Books. It is a story about a little boy, Avi, and Hamoudi. Hamoudi is from the Muslim quarter in Jerusalem, while Avi is in the Jewish quarter. And it's a story about where these boys come together and they there's prejudice there, right, based on their religions, their backgrounds, and their ethnicities that kind of create some contention and almost yelling at each other and fighting, and then they ultimately have to work together towards this one thing, and they find friendship and peace through this adventure that happens within Jerusalem. And there's a cat involved, so if your kids like cats, they'll like it. But I just thought it was a really good story. We also learned a lot about Jerusalem and how there's 4 different quarters within this small little country within a country, where there's the Muslim quarter, the Jewish quarter, the Christian quarter, and the Armenian quarter. And it also brought up the conversation of all these different religions living in one area and how they all differ from each other, but how they're similar, which is where Emily Cook, in all of her wisdom, brought up as an optional book you can get when when you read Snow in Jerusalem. Gosh, I'm doing a terrible job, you guys. She recommends, if you want to go into world religions at this time, get Mary Pope Osborne's One World, Many Religions. This is a really good book. We are not through with it yet. We're still actually going through it because it's kind of hefty. It's got a lot of information, but it's really well written for a younger demographic. And it goes over the 7 main, religions. You have Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, Confucianism, I cannot say that, and Taoism. And it's just been a really good read, especially since we're really digging into history and culture. Religion is getting brought up about a bunch, so I think it's been really helpful to them. There's really wonderful photos in here, so definitely highly recommend. If you're looking for a book for younger readers that kind of introduces world religions, definitely get this guy. It's been a good one. We have it at our local library, so I can go rent it out. check it out whenever we want to keep going through it as well too at a later date. Okay, now getting into the crafts we did, the projects, just different other activities we did. So I mentioned for A Drop Around the World, there was an activity that we did with it. It's a map that she provides in the curriculum that you can print off, one for each child, and it's the world map. And what you do is as you read the book, I think we read it over 5 days, you basically map where the drop goes. And you notice on the inside of the jacket of the book that I showed you, it has the map there. So if you, the parent, are like, wait, I'm confused where the drop of water went, you can use that as basically as a guide, as a key for you. But my girls really liked that. It really, I think, kind of connected the dots for them. And then also tied in geography in the map for the book to them. So they really, really liked doing that. They love map work. It's funny. The next thing that we did that was tied to one of the books we read, Year of the Dog. So my girls, we ended up watching The Wizard of Oz, the original. They loved it. They also really loved how it went from black and white to color when she lands in Oz. They just, even though it's an older movie, they were like, when was this made? I was like, I think it's 1934 or something like that. And they're like, oh my gosh, that's almost 100 years old. I was like, wow, I kind of feel old now. But they loved it. And the reason is, because you're like, what does The Wizard of Oz have to do with Asia, learning about Asia? Well, in The Year of the Dog, Pacey, the main character, she tries out for a play at her school, The Wizard of Oz. She tries out for Dorothy, and the girls are like, what's The Wizard of Oz? What's The Wizard of Oz? What's Dorothy? And I was like, oh my gosh, you guys don't know what The Wizard of Oz is? We need to watch this. And Emily Cook, in all of her wisdom, I went and looked the next day on the syllabus in the curriculum. She says, if you have not, you should watch The Wizard of Oz with your kiddos. And so it was a perfect Friday afternoon treat for the girls and I. Next, I wanted to share one of the arts and crafts that we did. For this unit, we did a bunch, but this is just one of them. We did, I don't know if you can see it, but we made our own ponds with, oh, I'm so sorry, my dog just walked through the tripod. We did our own lakes of lotus flowers. We made these out of egg cartons, and then we cut out green lily pad from construction papers, and it's just like a super cute paper craft, and my kids love these. So the arts and crafts have been like hitting the spot in this curriculum. The girls have been loving them. Going back to cooking, I know I said that we didn't really do a lot of the recipes in the book, but that does not mean that we did not eat Asian cuisine throughout this entire unit study. One that my kids love, they absolutely love sushi. So we definitely took advantage of Harris Teeter. If you don't have a Harris Teeter, it's a grocery store around here. They do $5 sushi, and their sushi is actually legitimately very good for grocery store sushi. So we went on Fridays, they do $5 sushi rolls. We went and got a bunch of sushi rolls and did that for lunch one day during this whole study. We also got fried rice one day, and then I made pad thai. So we weren't without our Asian food fair. I just didn't delve into the recipes that were provided in the cooking book, unfortunately, even though I would have really liked to make them. There were some that looked really good to me. I'm telling you, the girls broke my heart when they were like, no, we're not eating that. Kids kill me with their picky appetites. And then I've been sharing one of the animal profiles that one of my kids does every time we have a continent. So if you're new and you don't know what I'm talking about, each continent, Emily Cook says you're gonna do a mini research project on an animal. Your kids get to pick what animal they want. It has to be from that continent you're learning about. And then she provides these profiles. It's kind of like a very early version of doing a research paper. But my oldest, Emery, she picked the snow leopard. And so she draws a picture of it there. What does it eat? Goats. She didn't want to draw the picture. She wrote it. It lives in the tundra. What's its greatest predator? The crazy part is, for snow leopards, we are its greatest predator, poachers. And she drew a person with an axe on its back. Kids, man. But it's sad that we're the biggest predator to them. And then I always let them use the printer, and they find their favorite baby photo of a leopard or whatever the animal is. And so snow leopard babies are super cute. And then you color in on the map where the animal is found, so mostly in China. And then last but not least, y'all know I'm gonna share my kids' passports with you. So for my oldest, so at the end of every continent, we get these little, Emily Cook has these things where you print it out and you cut it out and then you paste it in. It's the passport sticker, and it's of Asia. My oldest daughter just likes to write. She'll draw a little picture, but she generally writes. So she wrote, I love Asia because I love pandas. Animals, animales. Why'd she write it that way? I don't know. So she just wrote animals that she liked. Common kingfisher, green sea turtle, red panda, gray wolf, reindeer, snow leopard. As you can tell, my kids are really into animals right now. So this whole animal profile focus that Build Your Library does has been really exciting to them. And here's my youngest's passport and her section for Asia. So she did a hot air balloon, one of the stone, monuments we found in our atlas. She drew that from one of the countries in Asia, green lizard, panda, and then a car because they drive in Asia. All right, y'all, that is everything. I think I hit all the highlights at least. There's a lot we do. We did 5 weeks of Asia, and I've tried to compress this into a 20-minute video. Hopefully I didn't go too far over, but we really enjoyed our trip around Asia. The girls literally every time, can we go there? Can we go here? So they want to go to Japan. They want to go to Asia. There's so many places they want to go now. I might be cultivating, I hope, a love of travel in my kids just early. I'm just planting the seeds early so that they'll want to go traveling with Cameron and I, my husband, later date and learn all about different places because that's one of my favorite things to do. Well, if you guys found this video helpful and you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you are new to my channel, hit that subscribe button. We will continue posting all things homeschooling and mom life and anything involved in that. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, y'all.